The firework display. It was Independence Day on the island of Sodor, and there was to be a fireworks celebration at Tidmouth Bay. Sir Topham Hatt came to see Thomas and James. James, you are to collect the fireworks from Vicarstown. James was thrilled except for Thomas. Why can't I take the fireworks? Thomas said enviously. Sir Topham Hatt shows me because I'm as red as a rocket and twice as grand, boasted James. Take no notice, said Duck. He's just being his vain self as usual. James was looking forward to collect his train as he steamed along the main line. Brightest and best, he chuckled happily to himself. Thomas, on the other hand, was very cross. His branch line was closed because Tiger Moth's pilot was riding recklessly and crashed onto the trucks and blocked the line. So, he had to shunt cars at the yard for the day. Botheration, he grumbled, and he biffed them crossly around the yard. When James arrived at Vicarstown, he was most excited. The cars with the fireworks were ready for him. He coupled up to them and steamed away to Tidmouth Bay. Meanwhile, Thomas shunted the last freight cars crossly into the siding. The troublesome trucks were glad that job was finished. Ugh, groaned Rickety. Whatever is happening to the engines bumping us around these days? On the loop line, James proudly steamed along. He was thinking about the fireworks when there was a loud noise. James grounded to a halt. What's the matter? He asked his driver. You broke down. I'll phone for help, he replied. At Tidmouth, Thomas arrived at the station where Duck was waiting with Alice and Mirabelle to bring his passengers to Tidmouth Bay. Lots of people from all over the island came to celebrate. Seeing the children made Thomas feel better, but Sir Topham Hatt was concerned. James broke down, he said. You must collect him and bring him here, Thomas, or the Independence Day will be cancelled. Oh no, said Thomas. Then all the people will be disappointed. And he steamed away to find James. Thomas steamed along the line, and even with his lights on, he had to be careful. Thomas found James up ahead. Hello, busted boiler, he chuckled. Not looking useful now, huh? James just groaned. Thomas found the turntable and buffered up behind the brake van, but couldn't see ahead. You'll have to look out for me, he called. James was still fuming. You told me I wasn't useful, he replied. Sorry for the insult. If the fireworks won't get to Tidmouth Bay in time, Independence Day will be cancelled. James knew Thomas had a point, and they set off together. As the signal up ahead was green, James called out, Go faster, Thomas, he said, and Thomas did. They made good time. Back at Tidmouth, Sir Topham Hatt looked at his watch. There still wasn't any sign of Thomas or James. It's getting late, he thought. It's almost midnight. I'm sure they'll get here on time, sir, said Duck. But Sir Topham Hatt's mind was made up. I'll have to cancel Independence Day, he said. So the disappointed people began to board Alice and Mirabel. At Callendale, James and Thomas made good time when they saw that the signal was red. They had to stop. Why is the signal red? James wondered. Maybe a passenger train is passing through, Thomas thought. Doug must be taking the people back home, cried James. The engines were upset. We're here, they called and blew their whistles, but no one heard them. The people were all on board. Duck was ready to depart. Then Thomas had an idea. Let's let off a rocket to get their attention, he told his driver. So his driver got out, took a few rockets from a van and lit them. He stood back as it whooshed into the sky and burst into stars like a balloon. A sparkling dragon, cried Sir Topham Hatt. It must be Thomas and James. Stop, Duck. Independence Day is saved. The signal at Callendale turned green and Thomas and James were on their way. They arrived as the people gave 3 cheers for them. Good work, Thomas, said James. Good work to you too, James, said Thomas. Good work, both of you, boomed Sir Topham Hatt. That night at Tidmouth Bay, Thomas, Duck and James watched the fireworks together. That was a great idea to save Independence Day by sending Sir Topham Hatt a message with the fireworks, Thomas, said Duck. Ah well, said Thomas. Whenever we deliver something special, they really do come handy to save holidays from being cancelled. And they all agreed.